She made a billion-dollar hotel chain chase her. Inside Alex Eala's stunning rise to global stardom, a 21-year-old from Quezon City just forced a Grand Slam tournament to change its menu. She made a Wimbledon champion pack her bags early. She turned a hockey arena in Toronto into what one commentator called Little Manila. And now, the biggest brands in the world are lining up with checkbooks open, hoping she'll say yes. This is the story of Alex Eala. And if you think you already know it, stay with us, because what's happening right now is bigger than anyone predicted. A nation waited 25 years for this. Here's a question worth sitting with for a second. When was the last time an entire country stopped what it was doing because of a tennis match? For the Philippines, the answer is now. Not boxing, not basketball. Tennis, a sport that, for most of this nation's modern sporting history, lived quietly in the background. And the person who changed that is a left-handed 21-year-old who first picked up a racket at age 4, trained an ocean away from home, and is now doing something no Filipino has ever done in the history of the WTA Tour. But here's the part that should really stop you mid-scroll. What's happening off the court might end up being even bigger than what's happening on it. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why sponsors, tournament directors, and even rival superstars are all saying the same thing about Alex Eala. Something's different this time. From Quezon City to the Nadal Academy, Alexander Maniego Eala was born on May 23, 2005, in Quezon City, the most populous city in the Philippines. Her father, Michael, is a business executive, and her mother, Rosemary, known as Riza, was once the chief financial officer of Globe Telecom, one of the country's biggest telecom companies. Tennis wasn't a total accident in this family. It was cultivated early and cultivated seriously. At just 8 years old, Eala was already signed as a brand ambassador by Globe Telecom, a partnership that has quietly lasted for well over a decade. As a teenager, she left home to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, immersing herself in the kind of high-performance environment that produces Grand Slam champions. She turned professional in March 2020. Her junior career alone would have been enough to make her a household name back home. Eala became the first Filipino player, male or female, to win a Grand Slam junior singles title, capturing the US Open Juniors crown. It was a historic first, and it planted the seed for everything that came after. But junior success doesn't always translate to the professional tour. Plenty of junior slam champions fade into obscurity once they face the murderous depth of the WTA. Eala didn't fade. She climbed. The breakthrough. Miami changes everything. Rewind to the spring of 2025. Eala arrived at the Miami Open as a name only hardcore tennis fans would recognize. She left it as a story every major outlet in the world was writing about. At that tournament, Eala did something remarkable. She became the first Filipina to defeat 2 top 10 opponents at the same event, and she stunned Iga Swiatek, a 5-time Grand Slam champion and former world number 1. Along the way, she rode that wave all the way to the semifinals, becoming the first Filipina in history to reach the Final Four of a WTA 1000 event, before finally running into Jessica Pegula, who edged her out in a 3-set battle that showed the tennis world Eala wasn't just a feel-good story. She belonged. That result alone would have been a career-defining moment for most players. For Eala, it was just the opening chapter. A few months later, at the Eastbourne International, a grass court tune-up before Wimbledon, Eala reached her first WTA Tour final. She came agonizingly close to the title, saving match points but ultimately falling to Australia's Maya Joint in a heartbreaking 3rd-set tiebreak, 6-4, 1-6, 7-6. It stung. But it also confirmed she could go toe-to-toe with the best players on the planet, deep into a final under real pressure. Then, in September 2025, she captured her first professional singles title at the Guadalajara 125 Open in Mexico, becoming the first Filipina ever to win a WTA Challenger-level tournament. And at that year's US Open, she notched her first ever Grand Slam main draw match win. Brick by brick, win by win, Alex Eala was building something. And in the summer of 2026, that something exploded. The moment that changed everything. Wimbledon. If you want to pinpoint the exact day Ealamania was born, it's this one at the 2026 Wimbledon Championships. Eala, seeded 29th, found herself facing defending champion Iga Swiatek on center court in the third round. Swiatek wasn't just the reigning champion. She was a six-time Grand Slam winner, one of the most dominant players of her generation. Nobody expected an upset. Eala didn't just win. She dominated. She took the fight to Swiatek from the very first point, standing aggressively inside the baseline to attack second serves, forcing error after error. She won 68% of the points on Swiatek's second serve, an absurd number against a player of that caliber. The match stretched into a tense tiebreak in the first set, which Eala closed out 7-6, before firing through the second set 6-2. It was over. The defending champion was out, and a 21-year-old from the Philippines had just recorded the biggest win of her career, advancing to the fourth round of a Grand Slam for the first time, and becoming the first player in Philippine history to reach that stage at any major tournament. She would go on to face 13th seed Jasmine Paolini in the round of 16, but by then, the result almost didn't matter. The story had already been written. The tennis world had a new name it couldn't stop talking about. And crucially, this is where a lot of the noise online gets it wrong. Eala didn't win Wimbledon, and she wasn't a finalist. What she did was something arguably more meaningful for a country with almost no tennis pedigree. She proved, on the sport's most famous court, that she could beat anyone. The historic title, Washington. If Wimbledon was the earthquake, Washington was the volcano. Weeks after her Wimbledon breakthrough, Eala arrived at the Mubadala DC Open, formerly known as the City Open, ranked 28th in the world. What she did over the following week hadn't been done by anyone from the Philippines, ever at any level of the sport. She started by beating reigning Olympic and Asian Games champion Zheng Qinwen. Then she dethroned the tournament's defending champion, Leylah Fernandez, in the round of 16. In the quarterfinals, she demolished second seed and world number 10 Alina Svitolina. In the semifinals, she dominated third seed and four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka. That set up a final against the tournament's top seed, world number 3 Jessica Pegula, the very player who had eliminated her in that Miami semifinal over a year earlier. This time, the story flipped. After the match was suspended overnight due to rain with Pegula leading, Eala came back the next day and rallied to win 4-6, 6-4, 6-0, closing it out in an hour and 45 minutes. Alex Eala had won her first WTA Tour title, and in doing so, became the first Filipina in history to win a WTA Tour Singles Championship. It was also her first WTA 500-level title, achieved by beating the tournament's top 3 seeds plus the defending champion along the way. The win propelled her from world number 28 into the top 20 for the very first time in her career, and extended her win streak against top 10 opponents to 5 matches in a row, taking her overall record against top 10 players to 9 wins and 4 losses, 7 of those wins coming in 2026 alone. Tennis fans and journalists needed a name for what was happening. They landed on Ealamania, Little Manila, the Toronto explosion. Here's where the story stops being just about tennis and starts being about something much bigger. A nation, a diaspora, and what it means to finally have a hero on a stage this size. Fresh off her Washington title, Eala arrived at the National Bank Open in Toronto, a WTA 1000 event, one of the biggest tournaments outside the Grand Slams. What happened next stunned even the tournament's own organizers. All 4 of Eala's matches sold out Sobeys Stadium, a 12,000-seat venue. Tournament director Carl Hale told reporters that ticket demand for her matches had exceeded the 2,800-seat capacity of the tournament's grandstand court by so much that officials had no choice but to move her entirely onto center court. "We can't put her on there," Hale said of the smaller court. She probably sold upwards of 5,000 tickets. According to reporting from Tennis 365, Serena Williams was the only other player believed to have produced a sellout Wednesday night session in Toronto in the past 20 years. And then there was the food. A tournament concession stand called Changeover Kitchen swapped out its chicken teriyaki rice bowl for a Filipino chicken adobo rice bowl in Eala's honor. And when fans asked for more, the kitchen added pork lumpia to the menu as well, complete with chicharron crumbs, garlic chips, and banana ketchup. A Filipino flag was raised at the food stand. Fans queued for a taste of home, 7,000 miles from home. Even her fellow professionals took notice. Two-time US Open champion Naomi Osaka, speaking after her own match in Toronto, said, "It's so cool she's building a new community and fans around her. It's great for women's tennis and the tournament." Eala, for her part, seemed genuinely moved by it all. Describing the experience afterward, she said Toronto's multicultural energy reminded her that tennis can be a medium for people to come together and celebrate the things they love. This wasn't manufactured hype. This was a diaspora, one of the largest in the world, finding a reason to gather and gathering hard. The business of Ealamania. Now here's where things get interesting for anyone who follows sports business, because the commercial side of Alex Eala's rise has been moving almost as fast as her ranking. Her endorsement portfolio, built patiently over more than a decade, includes some of the most recognizable brands in the world. Globe Telecom has been with her since she was 8 years old. Babolat outfits her with rackets. She's used a version of the Pure Arrow throughout her career. Nike has sponsored her apparel and footwear since 2019, and for her breakout Wimbledon run, the brand gifted her a hair tie themed around the sampaguita, the national flower of the Philippines, and released a limited edition shirt inspired by the same flower on the Wimbledon grass. The Bank of the Philippine Islands has featured her as an endorser promoting financial discipline since 2022. In 2025, she added Locally Juice as a sponsor, and in 2026, she became a Milo Philippines ambassador. Then, just ahead of the 2026 US Open, came a genuinely major addition. Marriott Bonvoy announced Eala as the face of its Tennis the World campaign across the Asia-Pacific region, excluding China. In its announcement, the hotel giant described her as embodying big-hearted ambition and bold discovery, pointing specifically to her rapidly growing international fanbase and her deep connection to Southeast Asia. So how much is all of this actually worth? According to sports business reporting from Tennis 365, industry analysts believe Eala could be positioned to earn upwards of $10 million in endorsement income going forward, on the back of her Wimbledon and Washington breakthroughs. For context, Coco Gauff, currently considered the highest-earning female athlete in the world off the court, commands an estimated $23 million annually in endorsements. Eala isn't at that level yet, but the gap that once looked impossible to close is suddenly a conversation people are having out loud. It's worth pausing here to clear something up, because misinformation about Eala's finances has spread fast on social media. There is no $45 million Wilson endorsement deal. That claim was thoroughly debunked by fact-checkers at Rappler and Verifiles after it went viral on Facebook, complete with a fabricated quote attributed to Eala. There's also no truth to rumors of a specially engraved Philippine icon Yonex racket. She remains under contract with Babolat, and no confirmed Emirates airline sponsorship exists either. As exciting as Eala's real financial trajectory is, it doesn't need fake numbers to be a remarkable story. Her actual career prize money as of this year has climbed past $1.7 million, and while headlines love throwing around gross prize money totals, industry analysts note that a significant portion of that goes toward travel, coaching, training, and taxes, which is standard for any touring professional. Her current net worth, factoring in both prize money and endorsements, is estimated to sit somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million. Genuinely impressive for a 21-year-old still in the early years of her career, with the steepest part of her earnings curve almost certainly still ahead of her. A nation finds its reflection. The commercial numbers matter, but they're not really the heart of this story. The heart of it is what's happening back home and among Filipino communities scattered across the globe. Comparisons to boxing legend Manny Pacquiao have become almost unavoidable in Philippine sports media. Not because Eala's achievements mirror his exactly, but because of the sheer scale of national attention now being funneled toward a single athlete in a sport that, until recently, barely registered in the country's sporting consciousness. Pacquiao himself weighed in publicly after Eala's Washington triumph, praising her on social media for displaying what he called the heart of a Filipino and calling her our new champion. The recognition has reached the highest levels of government. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. awarded Eala a presidential citation at Malacanang Palace in July, honoring her historic Wimbledon run. And in 2026, Forbes Asia named her to its 30 under 30 list in the entertainment and sports category, crediting her with getting Filipinos fired up about tennis after her rise into the WTA's top 50. In an email exchange with Forbes, Eala reflected on the wave of support she's received. Tennis can sometimes feel quiet and serious, so having that energy makes it special. For a country whose global sporting identity has largely been built around basketball and boxing, Alex Eala represents something genuinely new. A Filipino athlete now competing and winning on tennis's biggest stages. And for young players across the Philippines who never had a tennis role model who looked like them or came from where they came from, that matters in a way that's hard to put a dollar figure on. What comes next? So where does this go from here? By the numbers alone, Eala's rise has been staggering. From outside the world's top 50 a little over a year ago, to a maiden WTA title, a Wimbledon fourth-round run, and a place inside the top 20, the highest ranking any Filipino has ever achieved in the modern era of professional tennis. Her win streak against top 10 opponents, her sellouts in Toronto, her expanding list of global sponsors. All of it points toward an athlete who is still climbing, not one who has already peaked. Former world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki, speaking about Eala's game at Wimbledon, put it simply, "I think she has great potential. She has a good, all-round game, great from the baseline. I think we're going to see her for many, many more years." That's the real headline here. Underneath all the noise about sellout crowds and sponsorship math, this isn't a flash-in-the-pan viral moment. It's the early chapters of a career that a growing chorus of people inside professional tennis believe is only getting started. Whether Eala eventually closes the gap on Coco Gauff's endorsement numbers, whether she adds a Grand Slam title to her resume, whether Ealamania keeps following her from Toronto to Cincinnati to New York and beyond, those are questions nobody can answer with certainty yet. But here's what we do know. A 21-year-old from Quezon City just made an entire diaspora feel seen, made a hotel giant redesign a global ad campaign around her, and made a food vendor in Toronto put adobo on the menu because there was no way to keep up with demand any other way. That's not hype. That's history being written in real time. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Alex Eala's rise, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you the biggest stories in tennis, on and off the court, every single week. And if you think Eala can close the gap on Coco Gauff before the end of the season, drop a comment below and let us know why. We'll see you in the next one.